And young people say this in surveys. Well, communism is a pretty good idea. I mean, they talk about love and sharing the wealth. No, read the book. They talk about abolishing the present state of things.
Yeah, so let me go a little bit deeper in this. So now, if you can just give us an idea about what was the basic fundamental foundation of Marxism or communism.
Well, Marx and Engels said the entire communist theory or program may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property. So there you go. I mean, that's so. If you had Marx and Engels in the room and said, "Hey, in one sentence, describe communism," they'd say, "Well, that's easy. We did in the Communist Manifesto, right? The entire communist theory may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property." Beyond that, they had other basic little definitions. Marx said, "Communism begins where atheism begins." And here, if I may read just a couple of bullet points, this is Marx in the Manifesto, Marx and Engels in the Manifesto. Communism represents the most radical rupture in traditional relations. By the way, which it sure does. They acknowledge that communism, quote, seeks to abolish the present state of things, right? Seeks to abolish the present state of things, of all things, right? I mean, this is key because we're going from abolition of private property to abolishing the present state of things. So people who think, and young people say this in surveys, well, communism's a pretty good idea. I mean, they talk about love and sharing the wealth. No, read the book. They talk about abolishing the present state of things. These guys aren't tinkerers. They're not talking about like increasing tax rates, right? They're not talking about adding a couple programs to the welfare state. Abolish the present state of things.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, in the case of when you read the totality of what they're writing, it is truly a totalitarian philosophy. And totalitarian in the strictest sense of the word, a fundamental transformation of human nature. I mean, they are really looking to redefine human nature. The final paragraph of the Communist Manifesto, everybody remembers, workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. They write this in the final paragraph. The communists openly declare that their ends can be attained only by, now listen to this, only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. Okay? Our ends can be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. I mean, you and I, right? We know this as scholars and intellectuals. You never say all about anything, right? You might say, communists call for the forcible overthrow of those things in society which are unjust, right? They want the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. And Marx, here's one more phrase in the manifesto, close of the manifesto, last page of the manifesto. Communists everywhere support every revolutionary movement against the existing social and political order of things. Now you hear that and you think to yourself, this explains a lot, right? You might be watching a particular rally on TV, a riot or whatever. You think, why is that guy there with a hammer and sickle? What does that have to do with communism? Wait, they're protesting the unjust death of George Floyd? What's the communist doing there? What does that have to do with communism? Well, if whatever is going on, right, is some sort of movement against the existing social and political order of things, these guys will be there, right? I mean, they'll team up. If it's redefining marriage or gender or whatever else, something that you might think it doesn't have anything to do with capitalism or anything that these guys could have thought of in the 1840s. If it's about redefining and annihilating the existing and social political order of things, they'll be there.